Table Podcast. This is Dinner at the Round Table Podcast.
Prepare to be astonished.
Somebody call my mama. Live from New York and live from Florida. You already know what it is. Dinner at the Round Table Podcast, man. The building when I do it, yeah. The other day, and Nelly Nell was popping, B. We're back in effect.
What up, Nelly Nell? What up the other day? What's popping?
We had a few days off, man. But we're back full effect, man. I'm doing coming live and direct from Orlando. What's going on, man? You got a nice tan there.
You like my tan?
Yeah.
I'm looking crispy, huh? Looking like Kentucky Fried Chicken up in this bitch. I got light. I got light.
You got light. Now we can see you tan even better. Yeah, man.
Say that the whole show.
Okay. Hopefully.
Camera action.
Lights, camera, action. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Oh man, I look burnt. Shit.
Yeah, you look burnt. You look like a lobster. Lobster.
Hey.
Yeah, man. So what's going on, guys? We got a lot of stuff to talk about today's current events. I wanted to start off with the condo building collapse in Miami, which is very
that's so sad.
That's so deep, bro.
It's insane, man.
Terrible.
Very terrible. And upon doing research, according to what I gather, was that since 1991, that building has been sinking little by little, 2 meters per year. And the 40-year inspection that a building's supposed to get, according to the state of Florida, to make sure they're still up to code, they were passed, they passed them by for some reason. I'm not sure if it's a slumlord that they have who's paying people under the table. The whole thing is that the building was actually showing signs of deterioration, and it was they just ain't give a fuck.
There's an interview from 2015 where an architecture, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the architecture was being interviewed by a TV host, and he was explaining and walking him throughout the building and showing the infrastructure and the damage and the cracks, and this is very dangerous, and he predicted this type of situation happening, and we're in 2021 now. So what's that, 6 years ago?
Exactly. So it was being talked about, but nobody really paid attention. I mean, I don't know what's going on. As I said, sometimes they might have a slumlord or a company that owns the building who doesn't really care about the maintenance, and it was sinking every year, 2 meters per year. The building was sinking since 1991. So
2 meters per year. So in the 6 years, it sank 12 meters. Like, that's insane. Like, how do you go about the building property and it sinks 12 meters in half a decade?
That's crazy, man. It's insane.
Like, how?
That's just unbelievable. It's right on the water. Like, did you see how it's right on the beach?
The ocean front,
and that should be that needs to be priority number one. Is ensuring the structure of the building. Especially when you have a place that's vulnerable like that. Being just a few feet away from the water. In the center of the hurricane. Any hurricane that hits Miami first.
Yeah, you're right. And man, so
not on a mountain where you could just, we'll take care of it later, or we could procrastinate or whatever. Like, no, bro, you're in the punto of where all the hurricanes, winds, all the stuff that damage the property.
And you're right next to that salt water too. That salt water puts super rust on.
Yeah, you're right. And
same thing what the salt water does, like in New York City when they're putting salt in the streets and stuff, that damages
the concrete,
the highways. That's why they're always having to fill in that pothole each and every single year.
Yeah.
You don't see that in every other place. So that's because of the salt. So you have the same thing happening with the building.
Yeah, even the local streets is always mad potholes. In New York, it's like there's a pothole like every block. It's crazy.
Yo, you know how many potholes I hit?
Yeah, and what they do is there's like a little thing going on where the companies the contractors that get hired for it, they don't get enough money to fully fix it, right? So what they do is they patch it up so that they can get another loan, so they can get another contract later on to repatch it again. So it's just like a repatch mafia going on.
Cycle.
It's not even that,
Yeah.
because
If
think
you
about
fix it all the way, it's not, you don't have to come back 2 or 3 years later. But if you patch it up in a couple of months, you get another contract, and you keep on washing money through your company,
Oh yeah, but that's the way how to generate business too. Like,
Yeah.
and all that you said it that they don't give them enough money to patch it up completely. So,
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle because they got to make sure there's enough funds to take care of all the union members. I used to be a union member myself, so sometimes when you put the numbers together, it's like, oh my God.
But yeah, but you have to remember there's 1,000 miles of street in New York City. By the time you finish one street, there's 100 streets you did before that the shit's already fucking up in.
Yeah. No.
So it's not like even if they fix it correctly, they'll go out of business.
Yeah. So
But at least I have to say our prayers go out to all those families, and there's still people missing down in Miami after the building collapse. So it's very sad because innocent lives were lost because of someone else's negligence, and that's just the worst. That's just to me the worst thing ever.
The death toll thus far is 9, and there's like dozens of people still missing. So
wow, there's almost 100 people still missing. I think I heard.
Like I know, like somebody was contacting their grandparents who was trapped down there, and they keep answering the phone, but they can't like respond because like the mic is fucked up. But they know.
Yeah.
So you think it might be under the rubble or something?
Oh yeah, they're under the rubble. Because think
It's
about
possible. There's no signal.
No, because even if you think about it, like there's gonna be pockets of openings in the rubble. So people could be stashed in those little pockets, and unfortunately, a few of them is gonna be under shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I hate to say it like that, but whoever was the property owner has no soul.
Yo, piece of shit, you motherfucker.
Yeah, that us, because you was
watch
thinking
him not get locked up. Watch him not get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because they could just say, "Hey, we didn't have the funds for it."
Yeah. So here we have the clip of the actual collapse. We're gonna show it for those who are watching. If it's too devastating for you, you can't. Whatever.
Yeah, we'll put a warning. The images we're about to see may be graphic.
Yeah, but here goes the building collapsing from. We have two videos. This is from different. This is from the front, from the back angle actually, because the ocean front is in the.
On the other side.
Yeah, but we have 2 videos. This is the first of the 2 videos. We're gonna show real quick. So here we go. You ready?
See.
Ay.
Oh my God. Jesus, that's crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Literally, like the whole, like only a quarter of the building was left behind. The whole building is done. Oh my God.
How?
So I didn't even know that. It looked like 2 sections of the one section fell and then a second section fell.
Yeah,
is that what I saw?
And it's like 2 sections fell. The middle collapsed first, the middle.
Yeah.
And the right wing collapsed. And I'm not sure if the left wing eventually collapsed. I'm not sure if the whole building collapsed, but the left wing was left there hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can see it. You can see it one more time. The center.
And again, warning, images you're about to see may be graphic.
Then the right wing goes down.
And
the left wing stayed there, but I'm not sure if it eventually fell down anyway. It might have been probably the only part that didn't.
That is fucked up. That shit almost looks like a demolition, bro.
And then now it looks like a demolition. It doesn't even look like a regular collapse.
Yeah. Imagine people in there, bro. It happened at like what, 1:30 in the morning when everybody is in their the majority of the people are in their apartments sleeping. And imagine like this. Oh my God.
Even if they were awake, I mean,
even if they were, just the fact that 1:30 in the morning, most of the people are in their house.
So at least they died in their sleep in peace, I guess.
Yo, bro.
It would have been worse if you were awake watching TV and this shit, and you die watching yourself die.
Oh my.
True.
That'd be more
But
horrible.
still, even so, it's like, how does anybody let this happen? Like, how?
It's crazy, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. Like, it's a lot of slumlords, a lot of building owners that are fucking dickheads. That they just care about that monthly rent, or that these were condos. So I'm assuming there was probably like just maintenance fees going on or whatever. People
they charge crazy maintenance fees. I used to live in a condo in Miami. The maintenance fee is equivalent to the rent that I was paying. So imagine paying $1,400 a month rent. The maintenance fee, depending on the apartment, you know, if you get a really nice luxury apartment that has a lot of amenities, they're going to charge you a high maintenance fee. It could be $1,000 extra. That money you're not getting back. That goes specifically to the repairs of the building, the maintenance of the building, you know?
What amenities do I get? Like a gym, a pool?
No, like the pool. If they have a pool, a gym, if they have a playground, you know, to maintain the playground, fix it anytime something needs to be fixed, you know. So they get that money from, because I work in real estate, so I know this stuff. So they get those funds from the people who are living in this building. Like, all right, you live in this building, yes, your rent's going to be $1,400, although I know it was way more than that. It had to have been way more than that. Yeah. But then they separate the maintenance fee to make sure, like, okay, we promise you that this swimming pool is safe, because the maintenance fees that you're paying is going towards keeping the pool, you know, clean and
the daily cost of the building and like maintaining and make sure that it's clean, that the garbage taken out and everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if I'm paying the maintenance fee, I don't expect my building to fall.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm just saying. And then on top of that, the craziest shit about it is like it fell in sections.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean there was like one part of the building that was messed up. That means there was multiple parts of the building.
Yeah. I mean,
and that one piece that gave way at that time caused a whole domino effect.
Yeah.
Caused a whole bunch of people their lives.
I mean, La Dueña said it earlier, 2015, there was a news story on it, right? You said?
What happened?
There was a news story on it, right? On that particular building.
Oh, yeah. I saw it on Instagram somewhere. That's you. I saw it on Instagram somewhere. It was an interview in 2015. And, you know, they're talking about 2015 because, you know, in the conversation, he's talking about new regulations for 2015. And, you know, he said the date and everything. So you can verify that this video was like not just made. And so the guy was interviewing an actual architecture, and the architecture just looked alarmed, like, yo, look at this, look at that, damage. They were in the garage, they were in the laundry room, they were in the rooftop, like everywhere you looked was damage. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, and nobody, you know, thought to bring this up or to yell at the owner of the building, like, yo, what the fuck, I'm moving out, you know, fix this, fix that.
The city of Miami is to blame too, because if this stuff went viral and there's an inspector actually reporting it, because I would think that the architect he would have to report it just to keep his license. You know, he actually went over there and like pointed things out.
There's gonna be big lawsuits.
A lot of people are gonna go to jail. A lot of people's gonna go. I mean, maybe I don't know, because sometimes these people get away with it with white collar stuff, right? But man, that's crazy, because the city of Miami should have gotten involved a long time ago, since 2015. How long ago was that? 7 years ago.
They should have. What they would do is deem this building an emergency and deem it unlivable. I don't remember the exact term they use, and they'll force everybody to move out, and then the management will be forced to find housing for everyone that's in there. Like, okay, we're gonna find you a new apartment. Like, you know, I think that's how it would go. Like, they would find, but they didn't want to deal with none of that, so they just let this shit continue. And sometimes I don't know, it's a lot of people that drop the ball.
There's a lot of mafia. There's a lot of mafia within the government officials, like, in the sense, mafia, not like, you know, like any particular.
People been bought out to say nothing.
Get bought out, get money under the table to shut their mouth.
Keep it under the rug.
Yeah, that shit happens all the fucking time. So that's
especially in Miami. If anything goes in Miami.
Yeah, Miami's one of those cities where everything goes. In 2015, it was reported that this building was going, that had a maintenance issues, and it was, basically in 1991, it was reported that it was sinking 2 meters per year. 1991.
2 meters per year. Like, how is that?
1991.
Do you know how
so 2
big
meters
2
about
meters
like
is?
this is about like
It's 91. It was
That's
2
what,
meters.
6 feet?
2
6
meters,
feet,
like
2 meters.
All
6
right,
feet,
so
bro. That's
yeah,
how.
it's crazy.
Imagine a whole 6 foot tall person. Like, how tall are you? You 6 feet.
Yeah, so it's
So
crazy.
imagine someone equivalent to your size, and that's how
You got 30
often
years. That's
the
just some
building is
60
shrinking each year.
Wait,
That's
but-
fucking crazy.
And then the 40-year inspection that's supposed to go through.
Oh snap!
According to the state of Florida, every 40 years a building is supposed to go through an inspection process to make sure that it's still it's still fit to stand up, right? And they knew that this stuff was sinking since 1991. What's there to find out? You could have just gone and shut it down from the beginning. So the city and the state are responsible for it too, along with the property owner. So yeah. So we're gonna.
By the time they find out who's really responsible, it's going to be like 5-6 years, probably 10 years. It's going to be a back and forth battle in the courts. Like, I could just see it right now. They're going to, no, it's the government's fault. No, it's the owner's fault. No, it's the maintenance fault. They're just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the people who got affected, all the victims, they're the ones that's just going to have to.
Yeah, there'll be a big settlement, a big payout like they always do. They're going to shut people up with their money. But
I have a question.
That's very
in Florida, don't a lot of buildings suffer from like
sinkholes?
From not only sinkholes, but from like weak foundations and things of that nature because of the fact that they can't really.
Florida's a swamp. Florida's a big fat swamp. It's not like real land. The majority of it is swamps. So there's always going to be, it's not like New York where you got rock foundation, and like something like this will rarely happen in New York or places like that. But Florida is all swamp. Disney World, Walt Disney World purchased all that land, like it's literally its own zip code, because it was all swamps, and they filled it up with sand. And Disney, obviously they got money, so they're just going to do everything it takes to maintain it and make sure that they don't deal with this type of devastation.
So we got another video right here real quick. This is another video. This is from a condo across the street. A resident in a neighboring condo from the balcony took video of the aftermath. So let's play this real quick. Viewers. So this is somebody across, another condo, another building, right? This is the aftermath. Look. So the left wing actually is still there at this point. So the middle, the center and the right wing went down, but the left wing was still standing. And this guy here, man, he must be. I hope he had a mask on, because I imagine the debris might be insane too.
Insane.
Asbestos, lead, all that crazy stuff. Like, who knows if they took this much poor, they took this much, they didn't put this much attention into maintaining the building. Who knows what happened in the 70s, the 80s. I don't know when this building was built, but back in the
1981.
1981, where they had to
1981,
be certified to ensure that the building is asbestos free or lead free and all that stuff. Like, who knows if they even did what they were supposed to do? Like,
that's what I'm saying. That in 1991, the building was already reported that it was sinking. So there was reports already being done. So that's why I'm saying that the city and the state are liable too, because if there's a report that it's a building that is sinking, I mean, you're supposed to do something about it. Shut it down.
Get the fuck out of the building now.
1991. How many years is that?
Yo, bro, that's
30-something years.
My battery's 1%.
That's 30 years exact, bro. And if it sank 2 meters every year, it sank 60 meters.
And then in 2015, there was actual report.
So that's just saying 360 feet. Is that what you're telling me? It lost almost 4 stories of height?
It's crazy. And then in 2015, there was an actual architect there pointing things out that this building needed maintenance. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was just people just turning a blind eye to the situation. And
And they
the tenants are even more retarded, God bless them, for not fucking getting the fuck out. And and doing something about it. Because if you know this is going on, why are you gonna stay in a building that you might not wake up one day because you're gonna be covered with rubble and dead?
Owners were probably lying to their tenants and saying, "Oh no, there's no problem. It's okay. It's okay." You know what I'm saying? And if you keep hearing that year after year after year as a tenant, you know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that I could assume. Because if I have a problem with my building, and the landlord or the slumlord or whatever is telling me, "Oh no, everything is okay. Everything is okay. It's just little cosmetic fixtures," when no, it was way more than that. And I don't know, they must have convinced the tenant that everything is okay, don't worry about it, or we'll give you a month free if you keep your mouth shut, or we'll pay for your electricity or your water. It could be 1,000 things.
It could be that, yeah. And if you're not knowledgeable, if you don't have any knowledge of building structures, you're just a regular average Joe. You don't have no knowledge. You don't know about architecture and stuff. Yeah, so how are you supposed to know? You're gonna go by what the landlord is telling you, or the building, or the property manager. Right? Like you said, if you don't have no knowledge of building structures, you're gonna go off of what the property manager is telling you.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's just a little crack. We'll seal it up soon. Like, you know what I mean? It's like crazy.
We're in the beach. It's a little leak. Don't worry. We're in the beach. You're always wet anyway. So
oh God,
I don't know. It's very sad. I know. God
very
bless.
Very sad, man. But the state of Florida, the city of Miami has a lot of answering to do. And man, it's gonna be a whole shit show. Get ready, people. It's gonna whole shit show. Because one thing about Miami is it's a lot of corruption going on, and I'm telling you, they're gonna do a lot to cover a lot of shit up. They're gonna do a lot of stories that are not gonna come out.
A lot of money to cover it up.
Yeah, a lot of stories are not gonna come out because they're gonna do their best to cover it up. Because the city definitely is liable. The city, no doubt, is liable for what happened to, because they knew about this. They knew about it. So that's it. So, La Dueña, thanks for tuning in. I know you got, your little bumping and grinding to do down there in Orlando. So,
shut up.
Thanks for showing your lobster face today. You was mad, right?
My lobster face. All you can see is my teeth. All right, love you guys.
La Dueña's mobile.
Dinner at the round table, signing out.
We love ya. We love ya. You already know. Yeah, man, that's fucking crazy, bro. Like,
but my guy, it's like, how do you tell people it's good to live somewhere where apparently it ain't good?
It's all about a check, man. Sometimes, bro. I'm trying to tell you, like, look, where I live at, where I stay at, right? There's been the building has a plastic. So I've been in this building for a year already, right? The building, I remember when I first moved in, I had a plastic folder in the front entrance of the building where violation codes from the city already, right?
Yeah.
It was like 1 or 2. Right now, there's like 50 violation codes in there. And I guess the city inspectors are doing it on purpose by posting it there because they have to post it to let people know. But
now every time it's like, because this happened at my job. Every time they come by, if the shit hasn't started, if the ball hasn't started rolling, they give you another violation.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So now the shit is like 50 fucking violation papers down there, and nothing's being done still. I don't see any work. I don't see nothing going on. You know what I mean? I guess the next step would be to get the media involved. Maybe that'll make some type of noise, right?
Yeah. But it could be a whole bunch of shit, because it could be the fact because they can't get the scaffolding company to get out there, or they need permission to do shit and they're not getting it.
Yeah.
It could be a bunch of shit. But like, yeah, with the violations, because of the fact of where I work at, yeah, anytime they come out there and they see that the work hasn't been started or hasn't been done yet, or you're moving too slow for the city, they just pile on the violation. So it could be one violation that you just keep getting.
Yeah, man, it's insane, but I don't know, man. It's just, I think like landlords get away with a lot of shit.
Oh yeah.
And like there is tenant laws to protect us, but the landlords get most of the upper hand. You know what I mean? Like very few times you see like the tenant get their way in court too. That's another thing. Yeah, I mean, I've had battles with landlords before, and I'm telling you, man, it's a fucking shit show down there, and you got to go to the extreme to prove shit. But the landlord could just say one thing about you and it's over, right? And then, even if the landlord is in the wrong, you know what they do? They blacklist your ass, which means that they let the real estate community, right, or the realty community, they let them know, yo, this guy right here, even though you took them to court for some shit that they did, right? Let's say, for instance, you have repairs that you need to, to have taken care of in your apartment or your unit, right? And you're the one that files a complaint and then eventually go to court with the landlord, right? So this is not the landlord taking you to court for missed payment. It's you taking them for court for repairs. They still blacklist your ass. So they tell the rest of the realty groups in the city, and the real estate community, they tell them, oh, this guy's a nuisance. This guy, don't let this guy rent. Like, so basically all the realty companies, you go to, let's say you leave that building and you go to another building, right? Like maybe in another borough, they all have like a little community where they tell each other, like, oh, this guy
they got a database for that shit.
Yeah, this guy's a pain in the ass. Watch out if you rent for him. If you rent to him, watch out. So yeah, man, I remember I was living in an apartment and I was doing like a room share or whatever, like not room share, like an apartment share. And the person who was living with me put in a complaint, and then I was, on the lease, we were like co-leasing. Dude, next thing you know, they fucking blacklisted me. When I went to go get another apartment, I left there. I went to get another apartment like 2 years later.
Yeah.
The realty company told me, hey, you've been blacklisted. So they, what the fuck is a blacklist? They're, you went to tenant court for some issue? Like, yeah, because I had a slumlord that wasn't repairing shit in my apartment, and so we took him to court, me and my co-leaser. So, and like, well, it might be that. I'm like, well, what the hell? But I wasn't in the wrong. It was the landlord. Yeah, but you know how it is. It's like it's a little community. We all tell each other everything. I'm like, what the hell? Is this the type of fucking mafia? A real estate mafia?
Bro. They'll deny you a place to live, and that's the fucking craziest shit about it. Like, people don't understand. Like, New York City, yeah, it's one of the greatest cities in the world, but yo, living here is a fucking bitch.
It is. It is a bitch.
So you get used to the kind of money that you get here, and going anywhere else, you're like, yo, I'm not seeing much money. Like, you feel me? And you'll be like, yo, but you'll live a lot happier because anywhere else, you don't live to work. You work to live. You know what I mean?
Oh man, yeah, man. So yeah, moving forward, let's forget about the slumlords for now. But guys, man, my word, for my advice to people who are dealing with a slumlord is to, you can continue putting the complaints, but the city sometimes doesn't give a shit neither. They'll send inspectors over to continue to, give them violations, and then they still stay open for business. I don't get that. That's the part that I don't get. Like, why is a building getting violated so many times by the city, and then they're still in business? The city doesn't do like, what's the next step? How many violations is the building supposed to get until the city comes in and shuts them down?
No, what happens is that the property group will sell that building off or trade that building off to another property group, and then the violations have to reset.
So they reset, and then what if the next property group is a fucking slumlord too? Then what happens? They start all over again? Another 100?
Yeah, basically. That's how
never ending cycle.
It's rotation, bro.
Oh man. So yeah, man.
And then they don't understand. Like, a lot of people right now, when they're coming out of COVID and all this other shit, you feel me, are backed up on rent. A lot of people, and that's the thing about it. Anybody who's from New York, remember, right now, eviction court is canceled until August. They are talking about extending it another couple of months. So, get in, petition for that if you're gonna be.
If you're having issues,
if you're having issues coming up with that bread. So hope that passes, because of the fact that, a lot of people did suffer through COVID, and mad people over. And, this is coming from a place, this is coming from somebody who's seeing all sides of the fence and all people of all backgrounds and shades, because, in my building, there's not only Dominicans, there's Blanquitos and Africans and all that shit. So You know, and I know a bunch of them, and they're telling me, yo, some people in this building haven't even paid rent for like 8 months.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but they are offering there's some rent relief programs available. So those they're trying to get in New York State. If you're in New York State or wherever state that you're in, just go to the .gov of that state, and you'll be able to find out what rent
Yeah.
relief programs there are because there's a lot of money circling around. So if you're not knowledgeable on it, get to it because
And
eventually
if,
this shit's eventually the landlords are gonna get the upper hand and they will kick your ass out.
yep, yep. And we don't need a repeat of what happened in Houston. Because remember
Yeah.
when that happened out in Houston where the landlords were kicking everybody the fuck out?
During COVID, right?
Yeah, during
That's
COVID.
crazy. That's crazy. Man.
That's the craziest shit ever, too. Yeah. Like some people have no hearts.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know, man. I think we might have to start shooting these slumlords. You stupid motherfuckers! Fucking fix the building already. Anyway,
But you feel me? If they were to lower the rent, you feel me? Indefinitely, not just periodically. If they were to lower the rent of New York State, of New York City, shit would be a lot better and there would be a lot more flow money.
they should.
Because it
should
doesn't make
It should match the cost of living should match the wages, bro. The wages are not matched by the cost.
definitely not. And especially here, you have to remember, and here you could be fresh out of college, just got your master's degree. They want you with a master's plus 20 years of fucking experience to make $22, $23 an hour.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
Most people get stuck with a college degree in depth, working a dead end job, bro,
Yeah.
because they have to make ends meet to survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they end up staying there, and then by the time they get into the field that they went to school for, right? Whatever you want to school for, whatever, let's say you went to school for to be whatever the case, like let's say a dentist or whatever. By the time that you're fully in and you're making enough money, top pay, you're already like in your mid 40s. You know what I mean? Like honestly, you're like in your early 40s, mid 40s. You basically all you've done is like pay off debt,
Yep.
and now you're gonna start enjoying your life, enjoying your money at your mid 40s. So you're not really enjoying the full gist of your career income because you had to pay off all these debts. So you end up, you end up basically enjoy your money later on in life where you're about to fucking. You only got a few years left, maybe like 30, 20, you know what I mean? The
No,
life
but
expectancy is not that
you
long.
have to remember, life really doesn't start until you're after 40, bro. You really don't get it down
Fuck
past.
that shit.
Seriously, you really don't get it down past
life
until after
young
40.
with money, bro. That shit that after
Nah,
40,
being young
your body
with bread
starts
is
deteriorating.
fire, bro. Being young with bread is fire, bro.
Yeah.
Saying I'm not knocking it down, but what I'm trying to say is that New York City, at least from my experience, is that it doesn't allow you to flourish.
It doesn't. And that's
Even if you have a good education or a good background, because you might have the degree or whatever, but you don't have the experience.
no.
I mean,
Oh.
and then on top of that, since there's so many people in the city already working and doing their thing, there might be 100 engineer jobs, but there's 100,000 people applying for
That
that
too. Yeah.
100 spots.
And not only that, it's also like this whole networking thing. If you don't know somebody, you're not getting in.
And
And this
certain-
guy works in New York. New York is all about who you know, and most jobs that people get is through a reference of somebody who's already inside.
And on top of that, you also have to remember certain what you call blue collar jobs that are certain unions won't accept you because of the fact of your background, because it's ran by certain people.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Yeah, and there will be those jobs that you could be making $75, $100 an hour, or coming home with 120K a year. You know what I mean?
Nah.
You're more than qualified for it, but because of the fact of, the hypocrisy in it and the way certain things are ran, you won't be able to get that opportunity. So now you're stuck working a job that's way below your educational rate or way below your experience or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're there, you're stuck trying to figure out something else.
It's crazy, man. It's insane, man. Yeah, it's hard out here, man. It's hard. It's hard out here for G. What the fuck? But yeah, man. So, but yeah, man. So let's move on to this newfound there was a newfound drug. Was it like a drug or something that was supposed to
this shit. Doctor, hold on.
A newfound drug that
Dr. Brett
could it help eliminate COVID before or help
Brett Weinstein and Dr. Pierre Corey. They were on Joe Rogan the other night, and they were talking about how ivermectin was a drug that basically prevented COVID before all this vaccine shits and came out.
Yeah.
It's a really good point that because of the fact that we already had this for like decades, that
because COVID is SARS-2, right? We already had SARS-1, so it's a new strain of the coronavirus. Yeah. So so that's the reason why this drug exists, because we already had it in the market to prevent the situation of a different strain, but we already know what time it is. It's all a big farmer thing.
At the end of the day, it was all really about bread. Like they had this money because of the fact that it was so old in the game. There was no patent. Nobody could really put a patent on it. So patent on it, companies can make money off of it because it's now considered something generic. You know what I mean? And in the free market, that's something that's very similar to like what Disney did. Disney back in the 70s was gonna lose the copyrights to Mickey Mouse and their characters. So they basically changed the law so that way Mickey Mouse and all these other characters couldn't go into the free market.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I mean, it's more to the story, but all of this has been a show of who has the biggest balls, who has the most power, about global domination. This all it was about. They shut down the economy. Let's get people scared. Tell them that there's a life-threatening, there's a life-threatening virus going on. People with weak immune systems, people with weak immune systems, older people are the first ones to go. Regular people, it was,
I completely get that. But at the end of the fucking day, bro, it was like, how could you put profits over people? Because at the end of the day, they've
been doing it for years, eh? Money is the root of all evil.
No, I understand that, but think about this now. Think about it like this. If you're running a country or you're a government body, wouldn't your citizens healthy and educated so that you're number one and you're generating money?
No, they don't care about that because they know that the population is rising, so there's going to be a new group of people coming in, a new group of people thirsty for the same system. So it's a never-ending cycle with them because they know that we could lose 100,000 people, but then there's another 100,000 people coming in.
No, definitely.
Are rising up. This the new generation, the 18-year-olds. They coming in. They're coming out of college 4 years later, and they're gonna start joining the workforce, and then we could use them as puppets. So like they don't care about losing some puppets because they know they're gonna gain new puppets. You see what I'm saying?
I completely get that. But the thing about it is that now people are super woke to this. If you're watching the job market and how things are going, people are refusing to work now.
Yeah.
See, COVID, what it did was not only was only like bad for regular people that fucking ran through their savings, spent everything they had just to survive, just to get by, had to give up a lot of shit just to, maintain. Now you created this, but at the reverse of that, you got people who was working from home, spending more time with their kids, being more family oriented. They ain't trying to give none of that up.
No, they're not trying to give none of that up. So
nobody's trying to go back to work and they can work 9 to 5 and be.
The flip side of that is that eventually this is what's going to happen, and this is the perfect time. This is all this shit. Everything that happens is planned by the people who run the world, right? Yeah. People meaning government officials, governments, and their elites, people who basically own all the wealth in the world, right? They have this plan. They know this, right? So people not going back to work. You know what's gonna happen? Okay, fine. So that automation shit that niggas has been talking about? Well, guess what? Now we're gonna make it happen because nobody wants to work. So now we're gonna make automation 100%. That's what's gonna happen. Automation. We're gonna have these automated services now, robots replacing humans at jobs. Right? I mean that's the next step. Oh, the population doesn't want to work. Well, guess what? We've been planning on replacing humans with robots and these automated services. So let's just start doing that now, since nobody wants to work anyway. Let's start the process even earlier. So this has all been a colluded like plan to like eventually lead up to many things. You know what I mean? One of them being world domination and automation, and them having absolute control of like of what we can and cannot do. You know what I mean? People living in fear and this, that, and the third. But people are woke. People got it now. Most people got
Yeah.
it, but the vast majority of people are still under the impression that they trust the government and that
No.
nothing is going on, and this is all like
No, you
something
can't.
happened by natural forces.
Not
No.
only that, yo, it's like you feel me. I'm from immigrant parents. You're from immigrant parents. A lot of people from here are from immigrant parents.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is like we lost a lot of spirit lately, and it's like we the people shouldn't have to worry about the gov. The gov should be worried about the people. And I'm not saying anything to incite anything or nothing like that, but we need to be more vigilant at questioning our government and our government officials and
Yeah.
actually having them at arm's length, not at arm's length, where we could say, yo, what's going on with this? You need to address this and you need to work it right. And the thing about it, we need to elect people that actually want to do this job. It's not an easy job. You think representing a couple of million people is an easy job? It's not.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that we gotta stop these. We gotta stop and start thinking about electing people who actually want to do the work and actually do the
No.
shit for people
No.
and maintain that, because of the fact that and this might be me being optimistic about it, but I feel that if you put good people in positions of power, they'll end up trying to do good, as long as they could be around more good people.
Yeah.
But
But-
corruption at that level is extremely easy and extremely something.
Yeah, and then I tell you why it is, because these politicians are forced to abide by certain
Yeah.
codes because of who put them in office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're trying to go into office, or you're a government official that gets in a position, you was funded by somebody to get you there. Your campaign was funded by
No,
a
And
corporation or a rich
now you
guy.
owe favors.
You're indebted. I don't care what you say. You can't be righteous if you owe money to somebody. That's just gonna bother your name, especially if that person has the power to ruin your life. They can ruin your life through the press. They can ruin your life by killing you, or they have a folder of shit that you've done that they can turn over to ruin your image forever. They can take you out of office themselves. So when you're
Not only
indebted,
that, you just don't want to go. You just don't want to be in a position of power, especially when it comes to like a government body, with somebody saying, "Yo, it's time for me to cash in that favor you owe me."
and that's the problem. That's why all the most, I guarantee you that most government officials, especially the higher elected ones,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like they go through that pressure where they go in with an idea, they want to make change and all that. But then you got the big Willie that funded them.
yeah.
They say, hey, listen, man, I know you want to make this, that, and the third happen, but you owe me $10 million, buddy. So before you do all of that, you gotta do this for me first. And then they feel that pressure, and their term in office just turns into doing favors for that person who lent them that money. You know what I mean? Rather than them doing what they initially wanted to do when they went into office, because they're so worried about that debt. And this person has enough money to ruin your life. You know what I mean? So you're gonna do what you're gonna do to make sure you get this guy out of the way first. And by the time that you do that, your term is over already. Or if you stay within the government, that person continues to pump money into your career, and you still owe them
that's the
more
thing
money.
about it. What sets it off is that campaigning and doing all this like I understand back in the day before technology is where it is now, but yo, campaigning nowadays shouldn't be that expensive.
It shouldn't. Yeah.
You shouldn't be trying to fucking do your campaign at the Madison Square Garden. Come on.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be trying to be a rock star campaigning. Like, yo, campaigning, be with the people, go meet the people in their environment. Like, yo, I bet money, and this is me taking things out of New York City. I bet money a lot of people who campaign for like Chicago, representatives out in Chicago won't dare step in like South Side or whatever, you know, extremely violent neighborhoods they have there. You feel me? Because I've never been in Chicago, so I really can't say anything.
Chirac.
You know, but they won't step foot in there. Come on, bro.
It's crazy, man.
If you're campaigning, you need to go see the people and go see them direct. And that's the thing about it. Like now with technology, you could send your message all across that state or all across that country or around that, you know, whatever city or whatever zone you're in charge of. Like you should be able to spread that message without having to spend millions of dollars. Like I understand a few $1,000, definitely. Well, a few $1 million for a campaign, that's insane. And not only that, you might be a person that isn't a millionaire in the game like that. So it's like you're gonna take favors from these big corporations or this person here who's involved with this, that, and the third. Now, once you get into that position, you're like, damn, any day now that phone's gonna ring and that person or that corporation is gonna tell me this to do to make sure that things is smooth. You feel me? Because they hooked me up.
Yeah, man. You live your life in suspense because you never know when that call's gonna come in. And you know, even you might go into office already with a list of things you gotta do for this person. That was like the deal from the beginning. Hey, listen, I'm gonna help you out, buddy, but only if you do this for me as soon as you go in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's fucked up.
I'm telling you that it happens like to 80, like more than 80% of the politicians in office all been somebody did them a favor. Everything is part of favors, money wise, monetarily, and also by pulling strings to get them in. Yeah, and they're always gonna, you know, as long as we have a system where everything is about who you know and who, you know what I mean, this time the third, it's gonna be like that, brother. Unfortunately,
no, I definitely get that, and it's unfortunate, but it's something. The crazy shit about it is that everybody knows this happens, and we just allow it. Yeah.
People just wanna like think that, you know, everything is done innocently, and the system is, you know, really nicely prepared, and the real truth is, I mean, there's TV shows, movies about this shit. They show you this in your face what happens, and you still let them go by. Like people just don't. People just it's only a movie. It's an idea of somebody who created a movie. It doesn't happen in real life. The government does everything right, and this time of third. Remember, they're human beings too. They fuck up too. So
yeah.
How many times have you been? How many times haven't you been at work and you done a favor for a coworker, and now the coworker is indebted to you? That happens all the time, right? So imagine that scenario. That's the scenario that happens at your workplace all the time. It's the same way that happens with the politicians. They do each other favors, so now they owe each other favors, and the people who get them into office, they owe them favors, and it's just a never-ending cycle. A never-ending cycle continues to go. So I don't know. I think we're doomed forever, bro. I mean, I don't know unless you know we have some type of outside interference from the
like the aliens.
Yeah.
Like the aliens, the FBI and the Navy and everybody's been seeing.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of sightings right now recently. I think you spoke about it. It was like 5 new sightings that
like a bunch. Like in the last week, there's been like 7 or 8. And now I believe the Navy dropped a new video. There was a video that LAPD was chasing one.
Oh my God, they're here!
us fucking around.
Oh man,
That's
listen,
I
man.
tell China and Russia, yo, this is really us, but we're not gonna tell anybody this is really us.
Yeah, so you're
This is what we
interfering
got.
little by little, but
No, but
I
there's
don't
been
know, man.
sightings all over the world, even out in China and all that good shit.
That's what I'm trying to think that that whole prison plan and shit theory is fucking. It has some truth to it because, no matter how hard good people try to make shit work, no matter how hard good people try to change the system, no matter how hard they try to get rid of evil and corruption and the evil people seem to be winning over the good all the fucking time. So what the fuck is the point? What is the point?
It's not that. It's
Like,
not
what's the
that,
point?
bro.
Like, imagine.
Listen.
Hey, look.
The
Imagine this.
the one thing about it, you have to think about it like this, bro. At the end of the day, human society, we're savages. We're savages. We're ruthless, and
We're animals too. We're part of the animal kingdom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Animals.
And
We're just
so
we have
that whole
higher
greed,
consciousness. That's all.
the higher greed thing is embedded in us. Think about it. Like if we were really vibrating at a higher level, you think we would like people fighting and violence and all this other shit? I'm not saying like professional fighting isn't an art form. It definitely is, because to know how to punch a dude in his mouth and knock him out one time, that's crazy. Because some people could barely know how to swing properly. But what I'm saying is, like, as a species, we're still greedy and we're still young.
We're still very primitive, in the sense that we don't know how to treat each other.
Right now, we're at a pivotal point in our society where we could go from a type 0 civilization to a type 1. To a type 1. So it's, come on, like, all we need to do is stop the bullshit and stop hating each other and all this other shit. But some people just can't get that out of their system.
Listen, when we live in a system where classism exists, it's going to be very hard, brother, because it's going to be people that have more than others, and the ones that don't have more than the others are going to want to get to have more than the ones that have more. You know what I mean? It's always going to be that's what the whole thing. Classism. If we may, I don't believe it. I don't believe in communism, but I believe to a certain extent. I'm not a socialist neither, but I believe that if people have their basic needs met, because there is enough for us to live all like basic, we can all go around living happier lives. Because if you know that at least your shelter, food and water is covered, right? Just because you're a human being, as soon as you're born, the world has to give you that, right? By law, right? Then everything else is easier for you to maintain, because then if you fuck up, that's on you. You know what I mean? Because you got the food, shelter, and water ready. What the fuck are you doing with your money? Where everything else? So everybody lives a happier life. Now, when we live in a system where there's a classism based on there's a competition for who can make the most money and who can get the riches. Guess what? There's gonna be people who know the game, know the loopholes more. They're gonna get all of it, and there's gonna be a large group of people who are not gonna get none of it. And those people are gonna try to come up one way or another, whether it's through violence, through greed, through corruption. And that's why we don't live in harmony as human beings.
Yeah, but you also have to. I completely get that. But get back to your point where you said if we had all our basic needs met, think about it. A lot of violence, especially, and I'm not talking about like wars and none of that. I'm talking about street violence.
Yeah.
You feel me? A lot of street violence is perpetuated by the fact that somebody's trying to acquire something to survive.
Yeah.
It's either by hustling or doing whatever. And what I'm saying is that if we're able to meet, food, shelter, power, and now we can't even deny it that the internet is a necessity. Information, the way we get information now is a necessity. Is no longer a luxury. Back in the 90s, having the internet was a luxury.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, having the internet was a luxury. Now this is a necessity. Everything that we do is online.
Yeah.
So if we're able to meet, food, shelter, power, and communication via internet, nobody, if you think about it, violence would significantly gone down, because nobody's going to be stressed out about paying rent.
Yeah, I think broadband should be just free across. Broadband
Yeah,
should just be free
definitely.
because we're part of it now. We're
Internet and power should be free.
Yeah, because we're already a part of the
Power.
technology. We live amongst the technology now. Like you said, like so now that we live in it, we're part of the matrix because we are a
Yeah.
part. Let's say that the matrix, right? Matrix meaning we're part of this force field that's controlled by technology. Why pay for that service? It should be free because we're already a part of it. It's in our world already. You know what I mean? Like we can't live without it. So it's like free broadband. Why the fuck you got these companies charging so much money for fucking internet now? You know what I mean? Like
Because they're charging people rental use of their networks.
yeah,
That's what they don't want. Think about if the internet and power was ran by the government, and I don't want to say that because we all know what that means, that they have
Yeah.
control, basically
Yeah.
censorship and all that. But let's say that there was an agency that ran power and internet free across the country. You know how much that I understand that, or if not, the government could give these companies grants and pay them
yeah,
directly. Not,
or for like
and it could be a government contracted thing where you're paying, oh, you feel me? I'm paying so and so to keep these servers up, to keep this portion of the country running on whatever many whatever. You know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I mean, some type of like of like a partial maybe payment where it's more affordable for the public too. I get
Yeah.
that. I mean, there's a lot of things, man, that need to be fixed, but I mean, we still to think about all the problems going on in the world, man. Like we're here complaining right now about these things, but there's a lot of other shit that is more important, and we're here, like you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're voicing our opinion based on what we're living now, and this is
Yeah.
what we're living, right? So, I mean, there's other stuff going on in the world that's more important, right? I mean, we might sound like selfish individuals here, privileged individuals, but because we are privileged living here in the United
What
States
we
to a certain
expect.
extent.
We're in a first world country. We got first world problems.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we're only speaking based off of our current situation. We
No,
can't speak.
and and our sentiments and our hearts go out to everybody around the world. And
Yeah,
you going through, like, we do have a consciousness about that. And, like, we understand that people are right now, things are bad,
yeah,
and and what we don't understand as Americans is that outside of here,
it's worse.
it's really fucked up.
It's really worse.
Really fucked up. Like
There's
people,
only a few. There's only a few places that's a little bit better or similar to us. You know what I mean? But for the most
yeah,
part, a lot of places are really bad to live in, man. Unless you
yeah,
got that moolah.
yeah. Like you see the caravans of fucking people coming from Central America up here
Wow.
to the United States trying to get there because
Especially Europe.
a lot of problems is down in South America and Central America where the cartels and all this other crazy shit are running things, or the
There's a lot of
government is
corruption on
fucked
there
up,
too. The government too.
you know.
Yes, man. Yeah. So let's move on to this story about um a transgender um athlete try to get try to try out for the Olympics to represent what country is it? The United States.
Yeah,
So trying to represent the United States in the Olympics as a track and field, right?
yeah,
Track and field department. They try to represent the United States, but it's a transgender, and the Olympics denied the person because they're transgender. So they wanted to actually it's a man who wanted to turn into a woman, right? And
yeah.
wanted to represent the United States in the track and field department, but in the female version. So the Olympics denied based off of that. At the end of the day, you're still a man inside, so you have certain abilities
Not only
that
that, it's
people
like
don't, right? Physically.
even if you break it down, like down to like a physiological level, like your bones and your muscle structures are different from a female's, and this goes across sports. Like if you're transgender, going either way, man, male to female, female to male, you're at a disadvantage in those sports categories. Is either if you're going from male to female, your body's your body's too OD for that category. Like it wouldn't make sense. Like if you let males transgender women into those sports categories, they're gonna dominate that. You know, it's like you telling me, yo, no, if you're a WNBA team owner and they let transgender women in, your whole team is gonna be transgender, right? Because you got a whole bunch of biological males running around. You're no longer a woman team.
It's crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you can, you know, you went from being a man to being a woman now, right? But you still have those physical abilities
Yeah.
that men naturally hold because we're stronger, right? As far as like physically, and it's not fair. It's not fair. In Connecticut, this is Connecticut. These two transgenders, men and female, right? Male to female, they actually were accepted to compete in the high school on track and field thing, and they were smoking. I'm talking about they smoked all the other teams, all the track and field teams. They smoked them because they had the advantage. They had two guys on their team, even though they look like females now. Eventually, they used to be guys. They are physically more capable of doing things at a physical rate higher than females. You know what I mean? And they were smoking everybody. They wanted the national title doing that shit.
That's messed up because of the fact that it's like what you couldn't like if you wanted to compete, and this is messed up for me to say. I hope that nobody who transitions ever does it for the sake of the sport they want to play, that they actually feel and deep in their heart that they were born into the wrong body. If you're doing it just for like fame or to like progress in a sport that you're really passionate about, you shouldn't transition. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Right.
You know what I mean? So if you're transitioning for the sake of sport, you're fucked up. Straight up. Because you're trying to use your advantage on something that you shouldn't. That's like when they let the transgender hey Cece or whatever.
There you go. That's it. That's the yeah. So here we have Cece Tefler. She's the transgender athlete. So supposedly the Olympics denied her because she doesn't fit the testosterone requirements for the United States Olympics. I don't know, maybe during the hormonal phase of becoming from a male to a female, maybe she lost.
It doesn't matter. Like what they could easily do is make a transgender category in the Olympics for transgender athletes, and
they could do that. That will eliminate the problem right away.
That could be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to rule anybody out, but everybody needs an equal playing field, especially when it comes to competitive sports. You know.
So wait, there should be a transgender transgender for but remember, so wait, there has to be two types then. You have to have for the male to female, female to male. They can't compete against each other. Huh?
Definitely. No, you separate them too.
You separate them too, yeah, because then they're still gonna be a disadvantage.
No, everybody has the same platform.
No, but let's say for instance, if you keep all transgenders in one area,
you separate them transgender female, transgender male.
Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say, because then eventually they still have disadvantages if you leave them like that. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. And that's the thing about it. When it comes to competitive sports or combat sports, everybody needs to start off at the same playing field, on a playing field. You know what I mean? So that way the competition is about competition. You know what I mean? It's not like back. I think it was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago that they let a transgender MMA fighter fight a biological female. Yo, she got her shit fucked up. Like whoever allowed that to happen, they OD because she really got hurt. Like It wasn't just a regular beatdown. This was a domestic. It was domestic violence in my book.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? She stood up for herself by any which way, you know, and it's not a shot to anybody, but everybody needs an equal playing field when it comes down to sports.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so listen, so CC for the first openly transgender woman to win an NCAA title, failed to prove she meets the testosterone requirements set by the World of Athletics, right? As a result, the Jamaican American, she's Jamaican American, meaning she's American, but she has Jamaican parents, right? Athlete will not be allowed to compete in the women's 400-meter hurdles at the United States Olympic Trials in Oregon. Daily Mail reports, right? However, on Thursday, June 24th, the United States Track and Field Association, right? The USATF stated that Tefler will still have the opportunity to take part in future sports events as long as she gets her testosterone levels above 5 normals per liter. So the normality is 5 nanomoles per liter in the next 12 months, right? So, you know, she's gonna have to work harder to get her testosterone up. But according to this, as long as she meets the testosterone requirements, she's a-okay to play.
Yeah.
Or
which
to
is
participate.
Which I think right now, you know, is a step in the right direction somewhat. I still believe that, you know, people should have their own category just to give everybody the playing field. But
and according to her manager, you know, she's not upset. CC Tough was not upset. She accepted the decision. And says here, CC has turned her focus towards her future and is continuing to train. She will compete on the national and world stage soon again. So she, you know, she's not giving up. She knows what she needs to do.
I hope she does, man.
She knows that, you know, it wasn't any. She, you know, I mean, I don't know exactly how she feels, but what I'm saying is, it was based off the testosterone levels not being met, right? So I mean, maybe she accepted it because she felt there was no bias towards her.
Yeah. There's no bias. That's hey.
Yeah.
You can't be biology sometimes.
Because in 2019, like in the 2019, the transgender competitor took part in the NCAA Women's Division 2 Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Moreover, Tefler won a Division 2 national title in the 400-meter hurdles and was named an All-American. So she has been participating already in the NCAA.
She's been participating on the national level.
Remember, the Olympics is a whole different ball game. You know, it's a whole.
That's a global scale. You're representing your country on that one, Papo.
Yeah. So I mean, they have their requirements. They have their standards. They need to be met. You know what I mean? So according to this, there was no bias toward the transgender community. It wasn't about her being transgender. It was just about her not meeting the testosterone requirements. You know, she's just gonna have to work a little bit harder to get those levels up there. You know, so
she got it though. She got that.
So here it's a quote by her: "I love what I'm doing, and I'm getting to live my truth and my life." Wait, I'm sorry. I love what I'm doing. I'm getting to live my truth and live my authentic life. I believe that this is my way of being the change that I want to see in the world, and I live that every single day. So she's, you know, she's in accordance. She knows what's going on. She's fine with it. She just has to step up a game. You know what I mean? Testosterone wise. That's all. Congratulations to her, man. She sounds like a great athlete. She's won a national title before. You know, whatever floats your boat. You know, you don't let anything stop you, no matter what gender you represent. This is a prime example of this young lady here. You know, who's doing her thing. You know, so
yep. And talk about other young ladies. Shout out to Miss Richardson, the young lady who won the track and field, the young African American lady.
Yeah. She was getting scrutinized because of her hair color or something, right? Or because she has manly features, but she's a lady, some shit like that.
She did her thing. She did everybody. I know that.
Yeah, but she was getting ridiculed for something. I think it was because because they were saying that the reason why she won What's because she's not really a woman, she's a man in disguise, right?
Wow.
That goes to show you, right? That was bias towards
Fucked
her.
up.
I mean, bias from she was feeling she was feeling
Carrie. Sha'Carri Richardson's the name.
yeah she was feeling the heat from like just people talking shit, not from an established institute like like the Olympics or the NCAA or any professional athletic institute, right? It was just people talking shit. Oh, she only won because she looks like a man. She's a man or whatever. This time and third, right?
Oh,
So
that's messed up. But you gotta remember, she's a runner, so it's not like her body's gonna have those voluptuous features and shit. Like she's a runner.
but you know how
Like,
people are. You know how people are. They're gonna come up with excuses as to why other people failed to reach the mark, right? Oh, because this person had an advantage, or because blah blah blah. It's always something, always something, always something.
No, they need to give that young lady her credit because she deserves it. She did her thing, and she's going on to the Olympics, bro.
Representing USA, you heard?
That USA.
So wait,
I hope she gets the gold.
Yeah, and the Olympics are being where the Olympics are being held here in the United States this year, right? This time around, right?
Isn't it Tokyo that is being held at?
It's in Tokyo. I'm sorry, it's in Tokyo. But the tryouts obviously are done here before they decide on the team. So the tryouts are obviously done here. They need to hand select who's going to represent the country at an international level, and yeah, that's the reason why she's representing us because she won. She won all the she went through all the trials. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be in Tokyo.
Yeah, for sure. So
it's going to be in Tokyo. Goku's the mascot.
Who's that?
Goku from Dragon Ball Z is the mascot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is.
Oh man, dope. Yeah.
My Goku getting that shine, baby.
Word, right? So we're gonna bring up this young lady that we were just talking about, the one that's gonna represent us in the Olympics. 21 years old. She's having a great career thus far. For those that don't know who this young lady is, well, now we're letting you know. So your source. So here we go. You can find and you can find this on Yahoo is public information. I just had her face there, but anyway, the 21-year-old Olympic track star, Sha'Carri Richardson, right? Sha'Carri Richardson deserves the uninterrupted attention. This is her right here.
Oh,
yeah, with the nice orange hair, very boisterous, right? With the hair. Yeah, but she's one of the youngest of the Team USA's 300-meter qualifiers. So back in 2019, she won an NCAA title as a freshman at Louisiana State University with a college record breaking 10.75 seconds. Damn, she's fast. Then this April, she ran the 6th fastest women's 100 in history at 10.72. Wow, that's crazy. So that she's been
fastest in history.
Ever.
History. Yo.
That's crazy. Just before qualifying for the Olympics on Saturday, she clocked a speedy wind-aided 10.64 seconds in the 100-meter dash. Wow. Tailwind prevented it. So the tailwind prevented it from counting it in the record's purpose. So the tailwind, since it was kind of windy, they were saying that the wind kind of helped her. So they didn't whatever. It's always like
these. Wow, they're haters. They are such haters. You would think her long hair would give her some drive.
Yep. No. And the reason why we was talking about earlier, she was getting heat that people were saying, oh, she's not really a female, she's a male. She looks, that's the reason why she's smoking the competition, right?
Oh, because she's a member of the LGBTQ community.
There you go. So they're already saying like, so she's a member of the LGBTQ community. And you know how it is. There's gonna be people out there that are biased towards people of the.
I need to lay off Shorty. Shorty doing her thing, and she need to, she's gonna be out there representing us, Joe.
Yeah, and here goes. She has the orange hair, whatever. So she doesn't fit into like the traditional criteria for an athlete. So people who show like a different way, a different look, sometimes they're ridiculed. And she was getting ridiculed because of her hair color. And here she says, my girlfriend actually picked out my color. So it's pretty, she says she knows it's loud and it's vibrant, but that's who she is, and she's not gonna hide it, right? So
let her do her thing, man. Like,
wow.
I don't see the problems in this, like, thing, man.
So I'm assuming that
she's the 6th fastest in history.
Yeah, so she is.
I hope them girls is ready for that because she's gonna be hitting the jets on them.
Yeah. So she has a girlfriend, so that's just probably that's probably where the ridicule came from. She's part of the LGBTQ community. She's not heterosexual, and people have sometimes our our communities and the masses sometimes are biased, are biased to genders, you know what I mean, and they don't believe in homosexuality, but. Shout out to her, man, for representing, the way that she thinks, her sexuality, and representing, the LGBTQ community. Shout out to her for doing that. Whatever you want to be, man. Life should be whatever you want to do with it. You know what I mean? It's your life. You choose what you want to do and live it to the fullest extent, right?
You got to, but unfortunately, some people just let it pass on by them. They pick up a little too late.
Yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. We haven't been on the podcast for a while. We came on today just update a few things. You guys probably know some of this. You probably guys heard of it. But what we try to do here at Dinner at the Round Table is be the source of knowledge, because I know everybody's busy doing so many things. Your days are occupied with being on social media all day and worrying about who has the best Jordans and all this crap. Then we go and we find this shit out for you and we give it to you live on YouTube. Yeah. That's what we did today. So
you should call us the Hood News Reporters.
Yeah, man, for sure. So yeah, man. So you already know, man. Dinner at the Round Table podcast, man. The other day, La Dueña, Nelly Nell in the house. You know what I mean? We're gonna peace out this bitch. You know what I mean? We're about to bounce. But tune in every Sunday, Monday at 8 p.m. And then subscribe to our channel. That little logo in the right-hand corner of the video. Just tap that, subscribe to our channel. Go follow the other day on Instagram. Follow Nelly Nell 17 on Instagram. La Dueña Official on Instagram. I'll do it at the Round Table on Instagram.
Hit it like your favorite Avenger. Smash that like, hit subscribe.
You already know what it is, man. Dinner at the Round Table podcast. We out here, yeah.
Shoryuken! Tiger uppercut!
Mind-boggling, isn't it?
Did you just say mind-boggling?
Yeah, mind-boggling. When things are so crazy, it gets your thoughts all trapped like in a bottle.
Ah! My nutsack! Hey! You gotta be careful, man. Unlike you, I actually use these things.